How's it going, guys? Cameron here with Canadian Gamer, coming at you with another video out on the trail here today. And I wanted to share a little bit of a story with you. Not a story, but something I kind of thought was interesting. Again, not for everybody, but we're talking about rally racing games. And the reason why I bring this up, I've always been a fan of this style of racing game. You know, I've always liked the Colin McRae series. Obviously the arcade-ish rally games are good too. You know, one comes to mind is obviously Sega Rally. But I do prefer the sim rally racers. And what I mean by that, sim rally racers are very similar to, let's say, a Gran Turismo or a Forza Motorsport racing game, except obviously you're primarily racing on the dirt. Again, rally racing cars are the main focal point of those style of games. So the reason why I bring this up is because back in the day, Colin McRae Rally, which came out in 1998, I believe. I don't want to say it was the first of its kind, but it was definitely, you know, one that really pushed the sport into the mainstream as far as video games are concerned. Again, very much a rally sim game out on the PS1 way back in the day. And then, you know, as we got into the 2000s, you know, we got Colin McRae 2, Colin McRae 3, and Colin McRae 4 as well, I believe. I have 3 and 4 on the PS2 and the original Xbox, respectively. So as we got into the 7th gen console wars, PS3, Xbox 360, that was when things kind of went weird. So if you're not aware of who Colin McRae is, he's obviously, or he was, excuse me, a famous world rally car, race car driver. And Colin McRae passed away tragically back in, I want to say, 2007. And if you read up on it, you know, it was actually his fault, as cold-hearted as that sounds. But he was driving a helicopter, piloting, excuse me, and his helicopter license had been expired, so he shouldn't have been driving it. He had his son in the helicopter, and he had one of his friends in the helicopter, and his friend had his son as well. And so what ended up happening was he crashed the helicopter. There was an investigation that took place. I think it was like 4 years after the fact. They determined Colin McRae was flying the helicopter too low and too fast, and he had an expired license, and he shouldn't have been piloting the helicopter on that day. So it's still unfortunate, obviously. The helicopter accident, you know, doesn't diminish what he did as a rally car driver. But I just want to point that out to those who aren't fully aware of the situation. He was deemed at fault in that helicopter accident. So, you know, they always say, more money, more problems, you know. These rich people and their toys. Rather unfortunate. So what happened after his death, literally, I want to say like a day later, Colin McRae Dirt comes out. And Colin McRae Dirt was the first Colin McRae game to come out for the 7th generation consoles. And so there was a bit of a rebranding. Instead of calling it Colin McRae Rally, they ended up calling it Colin McRae Dirt. And it was a rally sim racer as well. Very hard to find. I've never seen it out in the wild for the Xbox 360 or the PS3. But yeah, just wild, that he passes away, or the tragic accident happens a day before the game comes out. So the game's obviously, you know, mirrored in controversy when it comes out. And anyways, Codemasters, the developer of the game, ended up rebranding the series Dirt, and they took Colin McRae's name off of it. And that's when the wheels fell off the wagon. Because if you go back and you look at Dirt 2, Dirt 3, Dirt 4, and more recently Dirt 5, definitely more of an arcade presence to those games. They have kind of a festival vibe to them. And they even did one called Dirt Showdown, which really sucks too. So the reason why I bring this up is because when the 8th generation of consoles came out, Codemasters released Dirt Rally and Dirt Rally 2.0. And Dirt Rally is more of a true return to form of the Colin McRae games of old, which is what I like. You know, I don't really like when companies take an IP and they try to give it more of a hipster vibe to it, kind of like the Forza Horizon games. I don't really like them, to be honest with you. And the same goes with the Dirt games as well. So anyways, if you've been watching the channel, I picked up Dirt Rally 2.0 for the Xbox One. Very hard to find game physically, never seen it in the wild. Game was originally $79.99 when it came out 3 years ago, about 3 years ago now, and I managed to pick it up for 25 bucks. The game's incredible, amazing. It's damn near a perfect game. There's online leaderboards, not a ton of tracks, but the tracks that are on there are really awesome. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. And so last night I ended up going online and watching a rash of videos, you know, mostly top 10 rally video games of all time, you know, best rally games of all time, best to worst list. And so I ended up watching this video, this top 10 video, if you will. And the guy, he ranks like 10 or 11 different rally games, right? He gets to number 2. And he's like, Dirt Rally 2.0. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. The game's freaking awesome. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what the hell? If it's number 2, what's number 1? And he says, at number 1, he's got a game called Richard Burns Rally. I'm like, Richard Burns Rally? Never even fucking heard of it. He goes on to talk about how this game came out like 15 years ago. And it's absolutely beloved by the community. And even to this day, many would put Richard Burns Rally ahead of even Dirt Rally 2.0. Like, it's right at the top, even to this day. So I'm like, what the hell is this? So then I watch a couple more ranking videos on loose dogs over here, rally racing games, and again, everyone's talking about this game, Richard Burns Rally. So I do a bit of research. Now, Richard Burns, he was a rally car driver as well. And in fact, he was friends with Colin McRae. Maybe I shouldn't say friends, but they were racing at the same time. I don't know if they were friends or not. I got to do more research on that. And Richard Burns Rally came out in 2004. And what's tragic about that as well is Richard Burns passed away in 2005. He had a brain tumor. So yeah, very tragic indeed. Both guys are absolute legends. And Richard Burns Rally was developed by a team called Warthog Games. Again, never heard of the company. Watched a few videos on Richard Burns Rally. And yeah, The game looks absolutely incredible. And what's crazy about it is it actually came out on the PS2 and the original Xbox, only over in Europe. The game didn't sell that well, so whoever published the game decided not to bring it over to the Western market, so we never got Richard Burns Rally. And to add to that, even to this day in 2022, the game still has an active community online. You can download the game for free. There's plenty of mods. You can import modern vehicles into it. You can still play the game multiplayer. And there's other tracks you can download. It's just insane. So yeah, apparently Richard Burns Rally, which came out way back in 2004, is considered the most legendary rally sim racing game of all time. It's considered the godfather. It's considered the gold standard of rally racing sims. So I'd like to get a physical copy, but obviously my Xbox and PS2 are region locked. I have a Japanese PS2, but I don't think it's going to play on that, obviously. So maybe I'll download it for the PC. I'm not in any hurry to download it, but I just thought the story was really interesting, you know? Never heard of the game, and then I do a little bit of research, and like I said, come to find out, there's a huge online following for Richard Burns Rally. It's got a cult following, and apparently the physics are heads and shoulders above modern WRC games. It's a hardcore racing sim, and it's just kind of a cool story. So yeah, if you're interested in it, look it up online, Richard Burns Rally. And if you're living over in Europe and you're into rally sim racing games, do yourself a favor. Go out to your local thrift store and see if you can find a copy of Richard Burns Rally. I'll be extremely jealous. Head on down to the wetlands viewing area. It's not good to be inside all day playing video games, guys. You gotta get out once in a while. Kind of looks like Far Cry 2, you know, out in Africa. Just expecting a lion to jump out on a moment's notice here.